Hey, Andy, can I ask you for a favor? Can you buy some adult diapers for your dad on the way home?
Ugh, why do I have to do that? You go and buy them.
I can't leave the house today. Your dad is sick right now. Plus, your mother asked me to sort out the garage.
I don't want to buy them. Buying adult diapers is embarrassing.
Oh, come on, don't say that. There's not enough in the house, so please buy some.
It must be fine for you to leave the house for at least a bit. Don't worry about my parents. It's not like they've gone senile or anything. Doesn't take long to run out to the store, so they'll be fine in that time.
I would normally go by myself, but I can't leave your dad alone this time. Just before, he was trying to drink some water and it went down the wrong way and he started choking. Luckily, I was there, but if it happens again, it could be serious.
Then why don't you just get them delivered?
And pay for the delivery fees? The diapers themselves are already expensive enough as it is. We're already basically paycheck to paycheck, so I want to buy them as cheap as possible.
Why didn't you just buy a bunch and keep them in the house?
Well, he uses more of them than you'd expect, especially now that he's sick and has an upset stomach. He was throwing up yesterday, right? Well, he threw up on the stock of diapers and ruined half of them. They're unusable now.
Then how about you ask someone else to go get them?
Someone else? Like who?
You could think about that. Surely there's someone you know who lives nearby.
Why don't you just buy them yourself? Then the problem's solved. Why are you being so difficult about this? It's not embarrassing at all.
I don't want the cashier to think that I'm the one who has to use adult diapers.
No one's gonna think that.
How do you know that? There's no way I'm going to get them. Don't expect them from me on the way home.
Fine, then when you get home, I'll go buy them. That way, you'll be there to look after your parents while I'm out of the house.
What? I'll be tired after work.
They're your own parents. Look after them for at least a little bit.
Shut up. I don't care. As soon as I get home, you better have some food ready.
Surely you can wait at least a little after you get back?
What's the point of you being a stay-at-home wife then? Why are you so bad at taking care of the home?
Hey, I'm taking care of your parents too.
So what? Looking after them, the housework, cooking, that's all work for the wife to do. I work outside of the house. You work inside it. Both just need to do what we're supposed to.
But there's no break from the nursing and the housework. It's day in, day out.
Having to leave the house and work with strangers all day is far more mentally tiring than that. Just having to do some chores and look after my parents, that's easy.
I didn't really want to say this, but your parents are kind of selfish. Or for whatever other reason, they're really strict with me. Having to look after them when they act like that, it makes it much harder.
Oh, so you're trying to say that you have it harder?
No, that's not what I mean. I just want you to understand that I'm also at my limit right now.
Is that so? Whatever. Gotta go back to work.
What about the diapers? Come on, Andy, I'm asking you, so please just go buy them. If not, I'll have to go before I make you dinner.
You're so stubborn! Anyway, I decided to go out drinking tonight. Don't expect me to buy them. I'll be home late anyway.
Hey, Andy, can you come home early today?
No, I can't.
Do you need to work overtime?
I'm going drinking with a client.
Going drinking again?
This is also one part of my job, you know.
You go out all weekend, and you've started drinking each weekday after work, too. Do you really expect me to do absolutely everything for your parents on my own?
That's your job, isn't it? Take responsibility for what you're supposed to do. And by the way, the house has been really messy recently. And you've been making less food. Stop being so lazy with your duties.
I can't do anything properly when I'm caring for your parents all day.
Don't blame this on my parents. Who do you think is the one putting the food on the table?
I didn't like the way you said that.
I'm just speaking the truth.
You've really changed since we got married, haven't you? You've become really cold.
Don't compare now to when we were dating.
I knew that I'd have to look after your parents before we got married, but you also promised you would help. But you don't do anything.
I'm busy.
You're just going out all of the time. Last time I washed your suit, a whole bunch of business cards from bars were in the pocket too, even though I'm doing the best I can to save money day to day. Do you really have money to go out drinking like that?
I'm not paying for my drinks. They're paid by someone else. I'm not spending our money on it.
Oh, really?
Something wrong?
Whatever. I don't care anymore. I wanted to talk to you about it at home in person, but I'll just tell you now. Your mother was diagnosed with dementia.
What? Dementia? Like she's gonna start forgetting everything and go senile?
Basically.
Seriously? I figured it happened sooner or later, and I guess it was sooner than I expected.
Maybe that's true. But I want you to think about putting her in an aged care facility.
It can't be that bad right now, so we can wait for now and keep her at home.
But we don't know how fast the dementia will progress, and it's not that easy to find a place in a home for her. We'll have to wait for a place most likely. There's a lot to research and sort out in order to get her a place, so we should do that as soon as possible.
I said it's fine. This year, just look after her at home. We'll think about putting her in a home next year.
It's really difficult to look after someone with dementia.
Well, you've got experience with that, right? Your grandmother also had dementia, didn't she?
Yeah, she did. That's exactly why I'm telling you that it's better to put her in a home.
I'm relying on your nursing skills. That's also one of the reasons I decided to marry you.
What? You chose to marry me based on that?
No, it wasn't just that. It was a big part of it, though. We got married pretty late, so it's natural to think about that, right?
That may be the case, but I really didn't want to know that.
Oh, really? I'd say that's something to be proud of, though.
Andy, I'm going to be clear with you right now. I have no intention of looking after your mother with dementia.
What are you talking about? I won't allow you not to.
Your mother has been getting really aggressive recently. She's always abusing me verbally and pinching me. She even started throwing things at me.
Come on, she's an old woman. How strong can she be? Don't worry about it too much.
She's much stronger than you think, Andy.
Look, if you have time to complain like this, why don't you go clean the house? Complaining without actually doing anything is something only lowlifes do, right? That's what I've been saying about the housework recently. Isn't it all a little half-assed?
How could you say something like that? I am doing absolutely everything I can.
Like what? I'm saying this exactly because you're not doing what you're supposed to. Now hurry up and do the housework. Having to care for my parents isn't an excuse to get out of that. Oi, where are you? I finally come home early and you're not around. Not even looking after my parents. Where'd you go?
As if you care.
What's with that attitude? My parents are yelling about something. Just hurry up and come back. And what about food? It looks like you haven't made anything.
There's cup noodles on the table. Why don't you eat that?
Watch it. Quit messing around. You really think it's fine to give your husband cup noodles for dinner? Don't think you'll get off easy if you do this again. Just hurry up and get back here. My parents are calling you, so go quiet them down.
Asking me to come back? What, you haven't realized yet?
What are you on about?
There's something else on the table, right? The green document?
What? Divorce papers? What the hell is this? Are you trying to tell me you want a divorce?
Yep, I can't live with you like this anymore.
Who's gonna take care of my parents?
Like I care. They're not my parents. After we get divorced, they're just complete strangers to me.
We're not divorced yet.
But we will be. If you don't sign the papers, I'll get the courts involved for a mediated divorce. You have 1 week.
You think you can decide on divorce in just 1 week?
Fine, I'll go through the courts. I never want to live with you ever again. I'm leaving.
What? Who do you think has been providing for you all this time?
What, for like a couple of years? We got married quite late, and I've been doing all the housework and looking after your parents. Who do you think has been making everything work?
Don't lump housework in with real work.
Both are work. Do you want to try to calculate which one of us actually worked more?
My parents are calling you.
I don't plan on coming back.
What, you're just gonna leave 2 elderly people who need care and go?
Oh, the people who have been abusing me even though I took care of them? I don't feel anything at all about leaving them. In fact, I want some thanks for all the time I spent caring for them up until now.
You're the worst. even though we've lived together until now. Don't you feel anything at all?
If I did, I wouldn't have left.
You know that getting divorced at your age is the end for you, right? Who do you think is gonna want some old woman who can't even be a proper housewife?
I don't plan on relying on someone else.
Fine, let's get divorced. You useless hag. And don't crawl back here crying either.
Andy, it's been a week already. Have you signed the divorce papers?
Karen, can you give me a little more time?
More time? The divorce is decided already. All you need to do is sign the paper. Once you've done that, I'll come pick it up and submit it. There's nothing else you need to do. How we split the assets will be taken care of by the lawyer.
Don't you want to rethink the divorce?
Huh? Last week you said you'd sign the papers, right?
I realize how difficult it is to look after my parents. I've changed my mind. Now that I'm by myself, I finally understand how much hard work you were going through. This is nothing like what I had to do when I was single. I was more just like helping them, not taking care of everything.
Well, it's been a few years since we got married. Looking after them was always going to get more demanding.
Man, they're both really selfish too, aren't they? If the diapers aren't a specific brand, they won't even put them on. It's hard to get them in the bath too. They can't move on their own that much, but man, do they still know how to talk. Look, I'm really sorry. I really put you through a lot.
It doesn't matter if you apologize, it's too late.
I promise that I'll help you look after them from now on. I definitely won't leave it all to you. So please, just come back.
No.
Please! I'm begging you. At this rate, I can't even go to work anymore. I've been using my paid leave since you left, but that won't last forever. This is impossible on my own.
So why don't you put them in a home?
You're the one who said that we can't get a spot for them straight away.
I told you that we should look for one, but you stopped me. You're the one who left everything up to me and made me leave. You're the reason it was so difficult to look after your parents. You didn't do anything at all to help me. It is your fault.
I know that. That's why I'm apologizing. I really realize my mistakes. Nursing old people really isn't something one person can do. I'll make sure to make preparations for putting them in a home. So please, come back. Let's just give it another shot.
Look, I didn't leave because of your parents. I left because of your attitude and the way you spoke to me. I couldn't stand it. You left everything to me and did nothing yourself. All you did was go out drinking and spending money all the time. You barely even gave me enough to get by each day. And despite the fact I had my hands full with your parents, you told me that I better not slack off on the rest of the housework. So, how is it doing everything by yourself? Do you have time to get to all the chores?
I'm sorry.
My feelings for you kept getting weaker and weaker. Now, there's nothing left. It's at the point where even the good times we had together are stained by how bad you made me feel. I can't think of anything except divorcing you.
You're right. I've been acting really badly towards you recently. But I promise, I'll treat you much better from now on. Just like when we just got married. I'll treat you really special.
This coming from the person who became cold and distant as soon as we got married? I lied to myself and tried to keep our married life going. But even then, you told me that you married me just because I had some experience looking after the elderly. That was your plan the whole time, wasn't it? Marry me and force me to look after your parents instead of you.
You're wrong! I promise that's not the case.
Then why did you marry me? Because I happened to have saved a bunch of money while I was single? Because you thought I was just some discarded woman that would do whatever you said for a chance to get married?
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I promise I'll change. Just don't leave me. Come back to me. Karen, please.
I can't trust even a single word you say. Everything you say and do is just an act. Remember, I'm just some useless old woman, right? I can't be of any use to you, right?
I was wrong. I'm the useless one. I'm really, really sorry. I was wrong. Please forgive me.
If you've got the time to send me these texts, why don't you use that to do the housework? Go ahead, you can make time for everything. That's what you said, right? Don't think I'll forgive you for saying all of those things to me when I complained about needing help. Even if you come crying, I'll never help you ever again. Since then, I got ready to take the divorce to court, but my husband contacted me and told me that he signed the papers, and I was able to get the divorce without any problems. He must have finally realized that no matter what he said, I wasn't coming back. The assets were split between us, and I was finally able to get away from that family. I felt so relieved. After that, my ex-husband apparently looked for a nursing home and even hired an in-house nurse. But he still had to continue to look after his parents once he came home from work, and the stress took its toll, and he ended up collapsing and being taken to the hospital. He only contacted me one time to ask me to bring him some things while he was in the hospital, but I pretended not to see it and didn't reply. Once, about a year after the divorce, I walked by his house where I used to live. The front lawn was completely overgrown, and the house gave off a sense that no one lived there at all. I have no idea what my ex and my former in-laws are doing now. But since whatever they may be doing has nothing to do with me, I don't care to even find out. After the divorce, I went back to live with my parents and recover from the stress that built up while I was married. Now, I'm working at a company started by one of my superiors from a company I used to work at. Although it's busy, each day feels full and I am satisfied. If I hadn't divorced my husband, there's no way I'd be able to live such a carefree daily life. I'm scared to think of what would have happened if I had remained living as I was. My ex-husband never wanted to spend money on care for his parents or for anything we might need in the house. I'd probably be looking after them in those miserable circumstances until they passed away. I'm really happy with how things are now, and from now on, I'm going to focus on caring about my family and those around me who care about me.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.
Hey Violet, how's it going? You got a minute? Mind if I talk to you about something?
Nora? Sure, I'm free. What's up?
I've been doing some thinking, and it's your mom and dad's 50th wedding anniversary this year, right? I wanted to speak to you about it. You see, we've got a little idea we wanted to pitch to you.
Oh, is it? I must have forgotten.
Yeah, anyway, your mom and dad have always been good to me. They're the best in-laws a girl could hope to have, and I feel lucky to have them in my life. So me and Jason have been talking, and we decided we want to splash out to send them on a holiday somewhere nice as a huge once-in-a-lifetime anniversary present. What do you think?
Sounds fine to me. Do what you like. I really couldn't care less. Why are you bothering me about it?
Well, we were wondering if you'd help us make sure that they have a great time. We want it to be a holiday to remember.
You mean you want my money?
Well, I wouldn't put it so bluntly, but we were hoping you might contribute a little something to the holiday fund.
No chance. You're free to do what you like, but don't try dragging me into things by begging me for money.
I'm not begging you, and we're not trying to drag you into anything. We just thought it'd be a nice idea if we could celebrate this together as a family. You're their daughter after all. Besides, I heard they paid for the deposit on yours and my brother's house. What better way to thank them for being such amazing parents than to send them on a trip of a lifetime for their golden wedding anniversary?
The deposit? Phew, it was only a measly $20,000. They hardly broke the bank.
Fine, okay. Would you at least mind riding in a cart for them? If you could, it would be amazing if you could ride them one from little Mikey too. They'd be over the moon to get an anniversary card from their favorite grandson. You know how much they dote on that boy.
If that's all you're asking, then I guess I don't mind riding in a card. Mikey can write one himself though. He's 11, you know.
Thanks so much, Violet.
But let me make one thing clear. You're not getting a cent of my money unless you pry it from my cold, dead hands. Why would you waste money on something like that? You must be mad.
Something like that? This is your mom's and dad's golden wedding anniversary we're talking about here. They've been together for 50 years. They've always been so good to you, and we'll never get the chance to do this again.
I couldn't care less. What's so special about him being married for a long time? What, do they want a medal?
Geez, Violet, they're your parents. Besides, you're always buying luxuries like branded clothes, accessories, and perfumes, right? Would it really hurt so much to part with a little of that money to jet your amazing parents away for the anniversary trip of a lifetime? We're not asking for much. It'd be nothing in comparison to the designer goods you buy.
Who the hell do you think you are? You've got some nerve to speak to me like that. If you were trying to piss me off, you've succeeded.
Remember when your dad got hospitalized after his car accident? Not only did you not contribute when we all chipped in to pay his medical bills, but you didn't even visit him. In the end, besides your mom, me and Jason were the only ones who were there for him, physically, emotionally, and financially, while you barely lifted a finger.
What's the problem with that? Jason's the eldest son. It's the eldest son's job to step in when his parents are in trouble. What did you expect me to do? Give me a break.
But you literally did nothing. That's not normal. You couldn't even bring yourself to visit your seriously injured dad in the hospital, no matter which way you spin it. What you did was messed up. Not only that, but you and your husband have way more money than me and Jason. The fact that you were in the best position of all of us to help out and did nothing says it all.
Sure, we have a lot of money. My husband's a top executive at a major global company. What of it? What are you saying? That us being rich and successful means that you have a right to our money? That's laughable, pathetic, poor people logic. We are not a charity.
Wow, I see. Fine. You know what? Forget it. To be honest, we were pretty certain you wouldn't help us before we even asked. I only messaged you just in case you changed your ways since we last spoke, but I see now that would take a miracle.
It's plainly obvious that you're only begging me for money because you have none of your own. This is all just a ploy to pull at my heartstrings, isn't it? How about you stop pretending you're not poverty-stricken losers and just admit your status as miserable bottom feeders? Anniversary holiday fund? Don't make me laugh. You're the last people who have the financial freedom to be paying to send other people on holiday.
That's not true. Me and Jason can afford it if we pool our savings.
Maybe so, but something like this must be very expensive for a low-income family like yours. Tell me, Nora, what's it like being a peasant? I imagine it must be terribly difficult to get by. I heard you use discount coupons at the supermarket. Can you imagine anything more tragic?
What's wrong with using discount coupons?
What's wrong? What's right? Think about it. You spend your time saving up scraps of paper to get measly $1 discounts on what was already cheap peasant food to begin with. Maybe if you'd spent your time studying and working hard to succeed in life instead, this unfortunate situation could have been avoided. What a pitiful existence. I could never live like that.
I believe it. I heard all about your extravagant spending habits. You spend 3 hours at the salon every day, you dine at fancy restaurants like you're a member of the global elite, and you wouldn't be seen dead without your Peepsio Armani clothing and perfumes. How does your husband feel about you wasting his money like that? Does he never say anything?
Why would he care about any of that? It's pocket change to him. When you're as rich and successful as we are, your sense of money changes. Let's say we have a little more leeway than the likes of you and my brother. My husband could care less about the occasional luxury here and there.
I could be wrong here, but something tells me that just because he's away in Seattle on a company transfer doesn't mean he's okay with you blowing his hard-earned money on frivolities.
If you're trying to start a fight with me, you're going the right way about it. I suggest you be very careful about what you say next. You always seem to have some kind of whining, niggling complaint every time I come over to see my brother too, don't you? Tell me, Nora, why exactly is it that you don't know how to shut your goddamn mouth? What I spend my money on has absolutely nothing to do with you. Now back off.
Jason's sick and tired of your shenanigans too, you know? You're the most selfish, egotistical person either of us ever met. You genuinely think you can do whatever you like as long as it makes you happy, don't you? 'Cause screw the other people and their feelings, right, Violet? Right?
I think I finally get it. This is your inferiority complex speaking. The desperate attacks of a jealous brokey.
Excuse me?
You're jealous of me and my luxurious lifestyle, aren't you? Admit it. I can read you like a book. That's why you come at me out of nowhere, frothing at the mouth like some rabid attack dog. Poor people make me sick. Have you no shame? Do you have no notion of how despicable it is to pester people for money like this? Or do you just not care?
I've had enough of this. Your views on the world are too twisted for me to have any kind of meaningful conversation with you. Sorry to message you so late like this, but I just happened to bump into Mikey. He's still in elementary school, right?
Yes? Why? What do you want?
I just saw him outside alone walking the dog. It's really late. Should he be out on his own this time? Don't you think it's dangerous?
Relax, he does it all the time. He's used to walking the dog. There's nothing to worry about. And sure, he may be in elementary school, but he's in the 6th grade, and it won't be long before he moves up to junior high.
But it's past 10 p.m. I get that it's not a bad neighborhood, but you still sometimes see the occasional creep. Do you think it's a good idea for him to be out alone at night? It'd be dangerous even for a junior high or high school kid at this time.
Creeps? Don't be ridiculous. You can be such a drama queen. Besides, even if something did happen, the dog would protect him.
Seriously? Your 12-year-old chihuahua is going to leap into action and defend your son from some marauding weirdo?
I'm telling you, it's fine. You worry too much. Kids these days are so independent, they stay out much later than they did when I was a little girl. I can assure you, you don't need to concern yourself with my son's dog walking routine. Is this why you're so poor? Because you spend your time poking your nose into other people's affairs instead of making money?
Forget my financial situation. Look, couldn't you have him go out earlier, like in the daytime?
Why do I have to control every aspect of my boy's life? It's his own fault for not going out earlier. I'm not his prison guard.
If he must go out at this time, at the very least, couldn't you have gone with him?
I'm busy. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. My son's in charge of all things dog-related. He's the one who said he wanted a dog, so it's only right that he takes care of it. The pooch is Mikey's responsibility.
Please, Violet. Will you at least consider the possibility that it might not be safe for an 11-year-old to be out on his own at this time of night? If you're not willing to stop him doing it, will you at least let me go with him? It's not just girls that get targeted by creeps, you know? You hear about this kind of stuff in the news all the time.
Do what you like.
Phew, okay, thanks. I will. I'll let Mikey know he's gonna have some company.
Good grief, you're so soft on that boy. I wonder if it's because you have no kids of your own. I suppose it only makes sense that you'd know nothing about raising children, but I do at least wish you wouldn't pester me with trivialities like this.
Your son's safety is triviality? Lord, give me strength. Anyway, even if I don't have kids, I know full well how dangerous it can be for a child to be out walking on their own late at night.
It's not my job to interfere in every aspect of my son's life. How on earth do you expect him to grow into a disciplined, independent young man if he can't even be trusted to walk the dog on his own?
I guess you always did have a tendency to look the other way when it came to Mikey, huh?
Good grief, woman. Quit your complaining already. By the way, where did you end up deciding on for my parents' wedding anniversary holiday?
We spoke to them about it, and they said they really wanted to go to a hot spring resort. We did some research on the best spots in America, and we're thinking of sending them to a famous resort in California.
Oh, that close? You could have at least sent them further away. Are you aware we live in Washington, my dear? They'll barely feel like they've moved. I suppose I should have seen this coming. What with you being extremely poor and all. I mean, California, seriously? Everyone knows that when it comes to hot springs, there's only one place to be. Oh wait, could it be you couldn't afford to send them there?
Go on, enlighten me. Where would you send them?
The land of the rising sun, Japan, duh! If you couldn't afford that, you could have at least sent them some other place abroad. You know, like Hawaii or Guam. To think you'd send them 2 states away. My poor parents must be so disappointed.
But they said they wanted to go to a hot spring resort.
They probably just knew if they said that, you'd send them on a cheap trip to California and not take too much of a hit financially. They were only doing it out of consideration for you. They're aware of how poor you are and didn't want to put you in an awkward situation. It's amazing, really. You make this big show and parade about treating them like royalty for their golden wedding anniversary and then send them to California. If you're gonna celebrate, at least do it properly.
Okay, Mrs. Travel Expert, tell me, what does celebrating properly look like?
I just told you, going abroad. Take me, for example. I have 3 trips abroad planned for this year alone. I'm going to Dubai for the summer.
That's great, Violet. Good for you. Somewhere exotic like Dubai might be a really attractive holiday destination to a seasoned veteran like you. But I'm not sure your aged parents, who have almost no experience traveling abroad, would see it in the same way. Lots of stuff can go wrong, and when you don't know what you're doing, traveling can be surprisingly stressful. Besides, and I'm repeating myself here, but they're the ones who said they wanted to go to a hot spring resort in the first place. I think a nice easy trip to California is by far the best option for them.
That's such a peasant-like way of looking at things, but what did I expect? You are a literal peasant after all. I can't say I don't feel bad for my poor parents, but what do I care? It's not like I'm the one paying for it. Do what you like.
I will. We'll decide where your parents go on holiday amongst ourselves. What the hell's going on here?
I could ask you the same thing. What the hell do you want?
When I went to the supermarket just now, I passed through your neighborhood.
The supermarket? Oh no, you don't mean that budget supermarket for poor people a few blocks away, do you? You went again today? Are you gonna spend your whole summer vacation trading in poverty coupons for discount peasant slop at that shabby supermarket? I hesitate to call it a supermarket. Poop market would be more appropriate.
Hilarious, Violet. Well done. There's absolutely nothing wrong with buying food with discount coupons at a bargain supermarket during summer vacation, and that's a hill I'm willing to die on.
Forgive me. I should have known you can't afford to go on holiday. I see you're just as broke as ever. I know it might seem like I'm harsh with you sometimes, but to tell you the truth, I actually feel sorry for you.
You feel sorry for me? At least I'm not such a scumbag I'd leave my poor son on his own while I jet off on holiday.
Huh?
Mikey was sat all on his own on your front porch. He was sat shivering in his tattered, worn-out clothes while cuddling the dog for heat. He said he was waiting for you to come home. Apparently you told him you were going to work?
You saw Mikey? What on earth were you doing at our house?
I won a toy car from a lottery event I got entered into with one of my coupons. I thought Mikey would love it, so I stopped by to give it to him. I didn't want to disturb you, so the plan was just to leave it on the front porch for him to find. That's when I found him sat there all on his own. I could barely believe my eyes.
Oh, I see. Well, give him the toy and get lost. You don't need to worry about my son.
I thought you were supposed to be going away for summer vacation as a family. Why did you leave Mikey on his own? Not only that, but you lied to him and said you were going to work so he thought you'd be back soon. What the hell do you think you're playing at? This is unacceptable.
Who told you we were going on holiday as a family? Seems to me like you just assumed it based on nothing. If you must know, I'm on holiday with my friend. The only reason I told Mikey a little white lie is so he'd watch the house without kicking up a fuss about not being able to see me for a while.
What? You intentionally deceived your son and you see no problem with that?
Sure, as soon as I mentioned work, he just gave in and accepted. If I'd have told him I was going on holiday to Dubai with my girlfriend, he'd only have gotten jealous and thrown a tantrum because he wanted to come.
I can't believe you. How long has it been since you left for Dubai? Have you no shame? How could you leave your 11-year-old son on his own like this?
Take a chill pill, sweetie. He's more than capable of watching the house on his own at his age.
Maybe, just maybe I could understand if you left him for a single day if you had urgent business to attend to, but to leave him on his own while you fly aboard to go on a freaking holiday? Who does that? Does he at least have enough food or money to buy some? He was absolutely starving when I found him.
I'm sick of your incessant whining. Would you put a lid on it already? Of course he has everything he needs. What do you take me for?
Oh, I don't know. The kind of person who leaves their son on his own to fly halfway across the world to sunbathe with her girlfriend? Besides, I know you're lying. He asked me to look at the inside of the house. It was hard to see anything beyond the mountains of maggot-infested garbage, and I definitely didn't see anything resembling money or edible food.
Who do you think you are? How dare you enter my house without my permission?
I'm taking Mikey back to our house. The dog too. I'm gonna run him a nice warm bath and cook him some supper. He doesn't look like he's eaten anything in days.
Quit sticking your nose into my family's business! You'll do no such thing!
I'm not listening to a word you say. I feel so sorry for Mikey. I can barely bring myself to look at him in this state. His clothes are worn out. His face has no color. I've seen healthier looking homeless people. Don't worry about us. Just carry on enjoying your precious holiday. I wouldn't want you getting an uneven tan on my behalf. Goodbye.
You better have taken my son back to his home where he belongs. Did you?
Yes, I took him back home. He's with your husband.
What? My husband came back from his work transfer?
Little Mikey was in such a horrible state, I had no choice but to call him. When I explained the situation, he apologized and said he'd be on the next flight home. I didn't have his number, so I had to call your mom first.
No! No! What have you done? How many times did I tell you not to stick your nose in my goddamn business? You will pay for this!
I must say, it looks like someone's been a very naughty girl. Your husband had no idea about your trip to Dubai, did he?
But I did tell him I'd be away from the house for a little while.
Maybe so, but you lied again, just like you always do. He said you told him you were going on a business trip. What's worse, you told him you were hiring a babysitter so he didn't need to worry about Mikey being on his own. That's what you told him, isn't it, Violet? Lies, lies, and more lies. I gotta say, I've never seen your family this angry before.
No. I didn't mean to hire a babysitter. That wasn't a lie. But she canceled on me at the last minute. That dumb girl. None of this would be happening if she'd just done her job like we agreed. I had no time to find another one, and my flight was due to leave, so I had to leave Mikey to watch the house on his own. You didn't have to take him like that. He's used to watching the house. He would have been fine without your meddling.
He was starving, Violet. He said all he had left to eat was some candy that he was rationing because he had no idea when you'd be back. Him shivering on the porch cuddled up to the dog like that was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. How could you do that to your own son?
I told you I left him some food. He probably just ate it all on the first day. That's hardly my fault.
Really? I wonder if it might have had something to do with you lying that you were going to work. He probably expected you to come back that night. Besides, there's no way you left him enough to cover your entire holiday. Now, to change the subject a little, your husband says he noticed you've been blowing his money by indulging in every possible luxury under the sun. You've been lying to him this whole time.
What are you talking about?
Your wasteful spending habits, obviously. You covered up your husband's rapidly shrinking bank balance with a pack of shameful lies. Repair costs for the roof, money for Mikey's medical bills. Lie after lie after lie, with not so much as a hint about how you were actually spending it on designer goods and fancy restaurants. What was it you said back then? My husband could care less about the occasional luxury here and there? Well, it turns out he could. And what's more, you obviously knew he would, because you felt the need to hide it from him.
Forget that. The real question here is, what the heck does any of this have to do with you? This is our problem, for us to discuss. It has nothing to do with you. Just who the hell do you think you are? Quit sticking your nose where it's not welcome.
That's not everything you lied about either. I know all about the dog too. Apparently you were the one who wanted a chihuahua. But you got bored of looking after it a few months after you bought it, so you stopped caring for it altogether. Leaving Mikey, who thankfully, unlike you, is a decent human being with a heart, to care for it all on his own. How does it feel knowing your 11-year-old son has more sense of responsibility than you?
I get it. My brother Jason's probably mad at me, isn't he? I bet this is all coming from him. Admit it, you're just his mouthpiece. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come over and see him as soon as I get back from Dubai, and I'll hear out everything he has to say. Can you please tell him to put a lid on this endless whining for the time being?
Jason's far from being the only one who's mad with you. I'm acting your husband's mouthpiece here too.
My husband?
Mad doesn't do it justice. This goes beyond mere anger. He's absolutely livid. I've never seen him like this. And who can blame him? You've behaved despicably, forced to jump on the next flight home on a moment's notice from his work transfer out of state after finding out his pathological liar of a wife abandoned his son to jet off to Dubai, probably causing all sorts of problems for his company. And if that wasn't bad enough, he then realizes she's been spending his money like it grows on trees behind his back for God knows how long.
Is he really that angry?
He's so infuriated he looks ready to explode at any moment. He's even saying divorce is on the table.
What? Divorce? Isn't that a bit drastic? Why would he go straight to divorce? Surely we can talk this through.
I don't know. Geez, whatever could it be? Maybe it has been something to do with him messaging you every day to ask how Mikey was doing, and you telling him barefaced lies by pretending you were actually with him, and that he was absolutely fine? I don't know, Violet. Do you think it could be that? Maybe? Just maybe? You obviously knew what you were doing was wrong. Otherwise, you wouldn't have lied about it.
Wrong! Mikey really was fine!
If you think the disheveled, malnourished mess I found shivering in the cold on your front porch was anything resembling fine, I suggest you go and get your eyes checked out right now. Actually, scratch that. You need to see a shrink. 'Cause you've got a screw loose. Your husband's talking about divorcing you and taking you to the court over custody of Mikey, and if we're honest, after what you did, he'll almost definitely win. I think you should start preparing yourself for your inevitable ejection from the premises when you get home.
What? He's gonna kick me out of the house now? Isn't this all too much too soon? What happened to reasonable discussion?
It went out the window the moment you decided to abandon your 11-year-old son to go on holiday. Let's hope he lets you gather your belongings when you get back. Maybe if he's feeling extra kind, he'll let you camp out in the yard.
Look, fine, I admit it. It could be argued that I told my husband a few too many lies. But even still, don't you think going straight from 0 to divorce is a bit drastic? Is he okay with me being homeless? Are you? Could you really sleep at night with me out on the streets?
Yes, we're all in agreement. It wouldn't bother us in the slightest. And sure, we'd sleep like babies, thanks. No one here wants to help you. You don't have a single sympathizer in this family. We'd sooner throw our money into a black hole than waste it on a selfish, arrogant narcissist like you. After that, Violet booked the next flight home from Dubai in a frenzied panic and showed up at the house the next day. Apparently, she showed up with a suitcase full of flashy souvenirs in an attempt to win her husband over, but the fact she bought them with his money just made him even angrier, and he refused to let her set foot inside the house, collapsing into a crumpled mess on the front lawn. She stayed outside the house for several hours, crying, screaming, and begging her husband to forgive her. Naturally, he completely ignored all of it, having no intention of forgiving her for as long as she lives. He continued with the divorce proceedings as planned. The two of them went through divorce court, and while I don't know about the finer details of the ruling, I don't know that her husband won full custody of Mikey, and the two of them immediately moved as far away from her as they possibly could. Both Mikey's mood and physical condition improved remarkably with a few days of moving in with his dad, and now he's been bright, energetic, healthy young man, and he always should have been. Mikey wasn't the only one who moved in with his dad. His beloved dog came with him too. He walks him every day without fail. My sister-in-law Violet, on the other hand, who had already been kicked out of her parents' house without a single dollar to her name as a result of her reprehensible behavior, had the gall to show up at mine and her brother's Jason's house, begging for money. She got on her knees before us and pleaded, "I need money, please. It doesn't have to be much, please. I'm begging you." My husband, who must have been in an extra kind mood that day, tossed $1 on the ground before her, before saying, "Never come anywhere near me or my family again." Oh, the irony? To think her entire life now rested on $1 after she used to make fun of me for using coupons to get discounts for the same amount at the supermarket. I'm not sure if it was because she suddenly realized how pathetic she was in a rare moment of self-awareness, but in any case, she slowly got up and trudged away, broken and dispirited, her energy and vigor gone. As we watched from behind as she walked out of our lives forever, it was obvious how gaunt and malnourished she'd become. Her confident, self-assured attitude was now nothing but a distant memory. I don't know what happened to her after that, but one thing's for sure, she needed help. There's a satisfying irony in someone who stopped at nothing to avoid helping others suddenly being in dire need of outside support. I hope she realizes what an arrogant, selfish fool she's been. But I'm not holding my breath.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.